Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are having this a day early, and we're super excited because we have a fantastic guest and speakers with us today. I want to start and introduce my wonderful co-host and helper, Kurt Anderson. Super happy to have you here again with us to talk with manufacturers.
Sammy Joe, thank you. What an absolute honor and privilege it is to be here. And I'm so glowing because I got to hang out with you live in person just 2 weeks ago. I wish I was there and got to hang out in Anchorage with you. We went to Kenai. We went to Palmer. So I got to cover all sorts of fun places. Got to hang out with Holly, your little, wonderful, beautiful 2-year-old now. And so we had so much fun. So thank you for that opportunity. But welcome to the Alaska MEP. And, so every other week we're doing a live stream here. And Sammy Joe is bringing just high level, wonderful guests. And boy, we're hitting a home run today. It is my honor. It is my privilege to introduce my esteemed friend, Wesleyne, president and founder of Transform Sales. Wesleyne, how are you, my friend?
I am doing fantastic.
Well, welcome to the program. We are super, super excited. And guys, Wesleyne is a recovering chemist who is a sales guru, leadership expert. If you are on LinkedIn, and I'll tell you what, whether you're on LinkedIn or not, you need to follow Wesleyne on LinkedIn, and we might dig into that a little bit. But Sammy Joe, why don't we kick things off and go ahead? Let's start firing some curveballs, some fastballs. Wesleyne says she can handle anything that we've got for her. But we'll start unpacking some sales strategies for our manufacturers here in Alaska.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us, Wesleyne. I think Kurt started off right. I want to dive a little deeper in how did you go from recovering chemist to now the sales leadership coach that you are today?
Yes. So I started my career in the petrochemical industry. I was working with plastic pellets. I was making things, and I was always curious. I was like, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of this? I'm tired of being in the lab and not talking to people. So I actually would always go seek out the salespeople when they got back from the trips. And I would be like, so what did you do? Who did you see? What do you talk about? And that really piqued my interest into getting into sales. And I tell people when I got into sales, I finally figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up, because I loved everything about it. And because of my love and my desire, my passion, I read books, I attended seminars. There weren't as many webinars back then, but seminars, books, podcasts, and I got really good. And so I became an international sales manager really, really quickly. And when I became an international sales manager, in the first 6 months, I fell flat on my face. People were leaving. We were not hitting our numbers. It was horrible. It was really, really bad. And so I was like, what is wrong with me? I was a really good salesperson. Why can I not teach other people to sell? Why can I not inspire them and motivate them? And so I literally had to take a look at myself, and I was like, I'm the problem. The problem is Wesleyne. And so I had to invest in myself to figure out how to lead other people, how to not treat everyone like a mini me. And once I did that and I unlocked that, within 6 months, it was a completely different thing. People were begging to come work for me. I had 0 turnover. We were hitting our numbers double digits every single month. And so about 5 years ago, I decided that what I did for the company I worked for, I wanted to do for organizations all across the world. And so that's how Transform Sales came to be.
Wow, Wesleyne, I'm going to be honest with you. We've been friends for quite some time. We've worked, extensively, and I don't know if I knew that story. And so I want to unpack that for a minute. I know we have a ton to cover, Sammy Joe, but I want to cover that for a minute. Again, going back in time, you kind of like, you can fast forward stories, but was there, first off, kudos to you for the humility to look in the mirror. And so for anybody out there listening, owner of a manufacturer or sales team or whatever, and we're all leaders in one way or another. Was there an aha moment, or like, how did you get that taste of humility to say, like, man, I need to turn myself around? And you certainly did, but what was there an aha moment that came to you, or how did that happen?
Yeah, it was, one person leaves, another person leaves, it's okay, because you're like, I'm the new kid on the block, and they're just not happy with what's happening. But by the time that third person was like, I think that this is not, I'm putting my notice in. I was like, okay. So that was my humble pie moment. And I had a real exit interview with them. And I was like, so what are the challenges you're experiencing? What is the reason you're leaving? And they were like, the way that you lead, you're always talking about yourself. You're always saying, when I did this, when I was a salesperson, you're so focused on what you did and you want us to fit into your little tiny box. And it feels very crushing. It's like really oppressive. And so this iron fist that you're ruling with, it just doesn't work for me. And I'm not making money anymore because I'm so stressed out because you want us to do everything exactly your way. So that was a moment I was like, oh, I'm the problem. I mean, and it smacked me in the face. And after that, and so literally the way that people see me show up today, and even my employees in my company, they tell me I am the best person that they have ever worked for. They love working for me because like I treat everybody like a human, and I lead with empathy. So I really took to heart what that person told me so many years ago, because if it wasn't for that person being able to say that, because when you leave a job, you don't care anymore. If they weren't able to say that, I would never be able to lead the way that I lead today.
That's powerful. I love that you were able to really dive in deeper with your exit strategy. And I also feel like it just shows so much that you're able to come on live and share with us that like it didn't start off so great. Like there was some challenges and there were some hardships that you really had to realize to now get you to where you are today, which is super successful sales leadership coach. So I really appreciate you sharing about that. Inspiring. All right. So our next question I want to hit you is, why is it so important to focus on a core customer? I think you kind of talked about that a little bit in just the way you were able to niche down. So why is that important to focus on a core customer instead of trying to be everything to everyone?
So when you become everything to everyone, you become nothing to no one, right? And so what does that mean? Because I get requests all the time. Hey, we have this leadership team in HR and they really need XYZ. And I'm like, do they generate revenue? If your answer is no, I am not for you, right? Because people know that I am a sales leadership guru. I have sales tips, sales techniques from leadership to teams. And so now that I'm known for that, I get a lot of inbound inquiries, right? So most of our business is inbound based on the content that I put out on LinkedIn, based on the things that I say. And so when you have a product that you are selling, that you're putting out into the market, if you say, I make this widget specifically for stay-at-home moms that have boys between the ages of 5 to 15, that means stay-at-home moms that have boys between 5 to 15, while their kids are at school, they're going to be on your website. They're going to be engaging in your content. They're going to be reading your blog because they're like, you get me. And that's what you want every single one of your prospects and your customers to feel like. You understand me on a human level. You know exactly who I am because you've dug really, really deep and you understand their underlying problems and their pains.
Wesleyne, so you and I have done tons of webinars, workshops, and I'll tell you, I learned something new from you every time. In that your line, when you try to be everything to everyone, you are nothing to no one. That never gets old for me. It's that entrepreneurial curse. Boy, if I had one superpower, if I could please get rid of the shiny object syndrome, right? How do you help manufacturers, your entrepreneurs? Whether like you give Wesleyne tough love, but how do you tactfully, politely, how do you identify how do you tell somebody like you are out of focus, that you are how do you help them niche that down in a tactful, constructive way where they don't give you resistance?
So I start by asking them, who is your ideal client, right? And so a lot of times people will tell me, so we're working with a lot of manufacturers now, and they're like operations managers, plant managers, right? And that is who they're thinking about. And I'm like, unfortunately, they don't have time for you. So like they just don't, like they don't have time for you. And so they're like, but they're the ones who make the decisions. They have the money. And so we have to go through all of those things. Yes, they hold a budget. Yes, they make the decision, but your job is to understand who within the organization has the biggest problem, the biggest pain, and you scratch that itch. And you help them realize that this challenge that they're having, you can help them solve. They will get the money. They will get the budget, they will get the sign off, but you have to really think about it. You go deep. So you go layers within the organization, and that's what you do.
So good. So good. And Sammy, you're asking phenomenal questions here. And as you can tell, like, she's going to handle anything. What else do we have for Wesley?
All right. So can you share your best tips and strategies for small manufacturers, how to create a healthy sales pipeline.
Ooh, healthy sales pipeline. So first I have to talk about the unhealthy sales pipeline, because we have to talk about what we don't want before we talk about what we do want. So there are a couple different ones that I really like to talk about. Well, I'll talk about the bloated funnel. So if you think about a sales funnel, it actually looks like a funnel, just like a water funnel. You pour something in the top and it comes down small at the bottom. It is made like that because you need more prospects, more leads to get clients. You need more shots at the goal. A bloated funnel is when you have a lot of the same people. You're getting a lot of your business from the same companies, from the same area, from the same kind of organizations, or you have all these people on your marketing list. You have all these people following you on social media, but they're not converting. And even further, if you have salespeople and those salespeople, they're like out doing lunch and throwing events and doing all this stuff, but nothing is converting. That means you got to have a lot of stuff stuck in the middle, right? And so your job is, how do I get the stuff stuck in the middle out? So the reason a funnel is made the way that it is made, you need to have way more leads, way more prospects than you do clients. Because at each stage in your sales funnel, in your sales pipeline, there's about a 33% chance that you're going to convert, right? And so if you need just one customer, you use the rule of threes to get back up, right? So if I have 100 people, I start with 100 people. What does that mean? I'm only going to get 33 people who are actually going to demo, who are going to get on a call with me, who are going to even click through and add something to their cart if you're an e-commerce manufacturer. So you really have to think about that. And from those 33 people, you're going to get like 11 that will say, yes, I will buy from you, right? And so just 11 people from 100 that you hit. So if you feel like you don't have enough paying customers, the thing that you need to do is go back to the top. Figure out how you can get more shots at the goal, because that conversion rate is just a natural thing. Even in the best of best, I teach people how to sell. Our conversion rate right now is probably around 50%, because everybody who comes to you isn't ready to buy. So sometimes it's not even your fault. And sometimes you're out of their price range. And so there are things that are out of your control. And so more shots at goal.
Shots at goal. All right. That's so fantastic. Okay. So describing the funnel. So if the funnel is new to somebody, can you describe let's get into like the conversion, like when you get down towards the bottom of the funnel, what are some tips, man, they really enjoyed the webinar, or they enjoyed the lunch and learn that we did, or they enjoyed we were at the trade show booth and they were really digging what we were talking about, or we scratched that itch as you described, or we were hitting that pain point. When you get to the lower part of the funnel, what are some strategies there to help convert? Let's get them in the end zone. Any tips there?
So it depends on if you are, selling a product primarily online, if this is more like a face-to-face sale, like what you're doing. And so I'll give you examples for each of them. If you have a product that I would say is probably less than $100 per item, if you will, so that would be a quick sale. Your job is to get a long-term customer, right? Like you want that evangelist, that person who keeps coming back and keeps coming back. Your customer service is key. You meet them at a trade show, you meet them on a webinar, you need to touch them quick and touch them with high impact, right? Send them a quick video message, or if you do text marketing, whatever that is, like give them value, 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 value. And all of these lower in the funnel, it is all about value, value, value. So that's if you have a smaller ticket item. As you get up to the larger and larger ticket items, you're going to have some kind of discovery meeting, some kind of phone call, and your job is to be quiet and listen. Let the prospect talk. Allow them to share their problems. Allow them to share the challenges that they're having. Reflect their words back to them, right? So people like to hear their words. People love hearing, like if you say, so what I understand is this current solvent that you're purchasing, it's not really doing exactly what you need it to do. And everything else that you've seen in the market is twice as expensive. Did I get that correct? Yes, that's it. That's it. You get me. Oh my gosh. Where do I sign? I want this now, right? So really listening. And as you're lower in the funnel, whether you have an item that is not that expensive, or if it is, a couple $100,000, really stepping into the buyer's world is important. So thinking about if you send them a video saying, hey, it was so great to meet you at that trade show. I really want to schedule time for us to chat. Share something you learned about them. Make it personal to them.
So good. All right. So like, man, it's like it's like a sponge. Like when Wesleyne, and for the record, for our social media friends out there, if you're using hashtags, it's hashtag Wesleyne Wisdom. And so we're going to be digging into her social media a little bit. But Sammy Jo, let's keep the ball rolling here. What other questions do we have for Wesleyne?
I love that. Okay, so what advice do you have for manufacturers on how to work smarter, not harder, when it comes to their sales process?
Ooh, man.
Yes. So first of all, you should focus, like sales needs to be a core part of what you do, because as a small manufacturer, you think about your product, you think about your operations, you think about marketing, but sales kind of gets lost in the middle, right? You don't really think about the fact that I have a great product, I'm marketing it, I'm doing all the things to attract people, but I'm not converting them.
Right.
So the first thing is to recognize that sales is an integral part of what you should be focusing on every single day. And when you think about sales, I want you to think about conversion. So I want you to think about the people on your email list, the people that are following you on social media, the people who have purchased from you before. How can I convert them more? How can I convert them faster? And spend a concerted amount of time each day. And this should be on your calendar. 30 minutes, right? An hour every day. This is the time I'm focusing on sales. And when I'm focusing on sales, I'm focusing on conversions. And when you think about what is my process, your process needs to be, make it simple for you. If you're going from not doing anything to starting to lay out a process, get a spreadsheet, get one of these free CRMs, HubSpot or something. There's so many free tools out there. Customer relationship management tool. So something where you can load all your contacts up. You can say, I call this person this time. I'm going to send this person a free sample, some kind of database where you can kind of keep your customers in. And it's literally like from interest to nurture to close, right? Interest. They came, they visited the website, they came to the booth, they did a website inquiry. Nurture is I'm giving them some kind of content. I'm getting on the phone with them. I'm understanding their challenges. Then close is I'm sending them a proposal. I'm sending them a quote. I'm literally closing the business. So it's as simple as that, like 3 steps. And your job is to know every person that is an active client for you. What stage are they in this journey? Are they at that initial contact? If you have too many people up there, your funnel might be way too wide. You may not be spending enough time in that conversion. If you have a lot of people that are just nurturing, that means you're not pushing them out. You're not moving them along the process.
All right, that's fantastic. So, and we're going to dig into social media in a minute, but like content wise for a manufacturer where maybe that's new to them, Wesleyne, any tips, advice where like, the thought of them sitting down, like whipping out a blog, or maybe they're a little gun shy as far as like, getting on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, how do they tip their toe in, to get that content going, to nurture that client as you're describing?
It's for different people. Some people are writers, some people are talkers. It depends what is most comfortable for you, right? I am a talker. I go talk all day long, every day. If you can't tell, I love to talk. So I literally, and Kurt knows this. I think Kurt is actually using it to help him write a book. Like I have this app on my phone. It's called otter.ai. And so you literally just talk into it and it automatically transcribes for you. It's probably about 80 to 90% right. And you can take those transcripts and you literally just post that on whatever your social media place is. And how do you even come up with your content? What are the questions your customers ask you all the time? Like sit down and literally write out all the questions your customers ask you. How does this work? Why do you do this? This is broken. How do I fix it? That is what people want to see. They want to see solutions for their problems. So literally, if somebody is always asking you, let's say you manufacture granola bars, right? And they're like, I really love all your granola bars, but my favorite is the cranberry one. I was wondering, do you have any cool recipes that I can use with this cranberry granola? All righty. let me whip up a recipe for you. And literally just talk it into Otter, or if you're okay typing it out, just type it out. So listen to the things that your customers are asking you for. Anytime a customer asks you a question, have a Word doc, a Google Doc, a note on your phone, and just type the question out. And then you can rattle it off the top of your brain because you're the subject matter expert. And so that's the key. You know more than your customers about your product. So don't feel insecure about saying something wrong. You know more about the thing than they know. So just talk about it. Talk from your heart. My videos from 2018, I look at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, Wesleyne, what was actually even happening here? And now I just get on here and I just can roll, right? But it took a lot of iterations, and it took me watching myself and saying, I don't like this. Maybe we should change that. And that is how you become better. So just try, just start, just do it.
Just get off the sidelines, get on the field. I love it. And our little joke, our tagline, stop being the best kept secret. But just to recap what Wesleyne's saying. So say, you're a small manufacturer. There's only, team of 5, team of 10. Maybe if you're the owner, maybe there's one engineer, maybe your customer service, and everybody's kind of throwing on their sales hat. You don't really have a dedicated salesperson. What Wesleyne is describing, if you're in customer service, grab the owner and interview them. Ask them what are some of those key questions. Grab the engineer and ask those top questions. If you're in customer service and you're hearing those questions over and over, as Wesleyne is describing, jot those down, save those. You're actually creating a sales enablement tool, making your life easier, not harder. So I absolutely love this. Sammy Jo, you are on fire with great questions here. What else do we have for Wesleyne?
Thank you, Wesleyne. I love that you brought that up. I think that's so important. I love that you brought up Otter. We had actually just started implementing Otter. I think it is a very great and powerful tool that can be used and to try to just make your time more efficiently. If anyone wants to hop on our website, Wesleyne also did a wonderful webinar on cleaning up the calendar, and she knows how to make it more efficient to even put more time in for sales. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know I took a lot from that. But another question we have is, you love to talk about instead of chasing new leads, to really nurture, as you were referring to, existing customers. Can we dig deeper on that and share the importance of really nurturing existing customers rather than chasing new leads?
Yes, your existing customers, there should be a key part of your sales strategy to extract more business from the people that you've done business with before. I like to do this thing. I call it a win-loss report. So I actually go to customers that we've lost and customers that we've won. And this is something that you should do often. So once a quarter, you pick 5 people you won, 5 people you lost, and you ask them, why did we win? And then you ask the ones, why do we lose? Right. And so you get that voice of customer. And what you do is, from those customers that you've won, you want to do more of that. Right. You don't want to ever make your existing customers feel like they are second-class citizens. So if you have a customer that typically buys something from you once a quarter, your goal should be like, how do I get that once a quarter buyer to being a once a month buyer? If they're buying something from you once a month, how can I add more to their existing order? I want to increase it 20%. So you have conversations with them. And this conversation can be, again, depending on the size of the average size of the product that you're selling. Maybe you have thousands of customers, so you don't have that one-on-one interaction time. But do a quick survey, just do a Survey Monkey or something, and get the information from them that way. And what that will allow you to do is see customers, let's say you sell custom tea, and they're like, I really like having 1 cup of tea every morning, but in the evenings, I would love to have a tea that's non-caffeinated. Okay, so in this custom tea subscription, let's add a little nightcap or something like that for 3 days a week, right? Use the voice of the customer, figure out what is of value to them so that you can add more to your top line and you're adding more to their bottom line because they're happy.
Yeah, I love that, Wesleyne. And I'll tell you a couple of big things that I've learned from you is, I feel like you were just saying it right there. The more, as or any business that you're in as entrepreneurs, the more that we understand our customer's customer, the more loyal you're going to have a customer. The more you understand your customer's customer. And I love what you're saying here, Wesleyne. When you come in and okay, if I come in with a mindset, what else can I sell them? What else can I sell them? But how can I help them make more money? Customer, how can I help you make more money? What is your customer going through? And I absolutely love that. So I want to dig in here could you talk about you? I learn from you on a daily basis. You're my accountability partner. You're my coach on LinkedIn, and you are posting relentlessly on a daily basis, leadership tips, thought tips. Just you're an incredible mother, a woman of faith. I just admire you, respect you, commend you, just love you. You're just awesome blessing in my life. Can you just share, like, how did you get so aggressive on social media, and like, just how are you such a go-giver? So how did you get so aggressive on social media, and how did you become such a go-giver with your messaging?
So I will start this, will say I did it scary, I did it hard. And I tell people that all the time. Do it scary, do it hard. I literally, at the beginning of, I don't know, I think it was 2021 maybe, I was like, I'm going to post every single day on LinkedIn. And I didn't know where the content was coming from. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just said, this is what I'm going to do. And so anytime I make a goal for myself or I want to do something, I watch people who have bigger networks who are doing more things than I am doing, right? And so what I found from the people who were providing me valuable content was they were sharing, they were teaching, they were giving of themselves unapologetically, right? And so that's what I did. And I did in my own very little way. And initially it was very, it was all business-like. I wasn't as open. I wasn't as forward. But then I started getting feedback and people would be like, I really like that post. I'm like, oh, you like that post where I was really forward? Okay. So I'm learning the voice of my customer. They give me feedback and I do more of that. And then I started even doing, so like on the weekends, I'll do like more personal content, like me and the boys or me doing something going to church or whatever that is, because I'm a human and I want people to understand that it's okay to be human. You don't always have to be business-like. Like we all have challenges. And so that is really the way that I got started. And the way that I create my content is I know my natural gift is the gift of gab, of talking. So most of my content actually comes, I have a podcast. It's called Transform Sales Podcast. Anybody who wants to subscribe, check it out. And so a lot of my content actually comes from the podcast because we pull out videos and then we're writing segments based on what I say. And then for my coaching and my training, like I get all of my content from what I'm already doing. So it's not a heavy lift because it's not like I'm recreating the wheel.
Yeah, all right. So just to unpack for a minute, and I know we're going to be winding down here. We're almost, we're coming into time, but a couple of things that Wesleyne shared right there. Number one, well, Wesleyne, question for you. How did you and I connect?
LinkedIn.
And how about you've been such an enormous blessing to me. We've done a significant, we've been very fortunate. So grateful. We've done a significant amount of business. Wesleyne works with a number of MEPs in different states. And as a matter of fact, in the state of Illinois, I believe you're rated as one of the top vendor, consultants at the Illinois MEP. And you do a great deal here with our friends in Alaska. So you are a tremendous blessing. But you and I connected through LinkedIn. Wesleyne just mentioned, it was scary. She just got herself out there. She made a commitment. It's like going to the gym. And another word that I'd like to populate or reshare that she just shared, repurpose. She's taking content from her podcast and repurposing it. So like working smarter, not working harder. Remember that line earlier? So Sammy Jo, I know we're winding down. Any parting thoughts, words of wisdom, or last questions that you want to hit Wesleyne before we wrap up?
Thank you so much, Kurt. And thanks, Wesleyne. I love this. Do it scary, do it hard. I absolutely love that quote. I think that definitely resonates because I just know everything as a small business owner, a small manufacturer, just getting out there is such a scary thing. But like you're not going to be successful until you do it, unless you get out there and you do it. So I so appreciate that. I just think that was such a fabulous quote to end on. I so loved having you here. So thank you so much. Yeah. And look forward to hopefully having you on here again. We'll be doing more live interviews every other Thursdays, typically throughout the month. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Wesleyne. Thanks, Sammy Jo.
Thanks, Kurt.